So, do we have something like a predestined life, or can we change it? And who gets to decide? God, karma, our own self? In today's episode, we'll be discussing all of these topics and much more. So, let's get started. So, again, do we have a predestined life? Short answer, yes. But there are certain anomalies to it, and I believe we can change our destiny. But before that, let us understand a little about Indian astrology. Indian astrology was created by the sages in ancient India way back in 1500 BC. We see mention of it in the Vedic texts, which are the religious scriptures of the Hindu religion. So, according to them, astrology is the study of the planets in our solar system, including the sun and the moon, which are responsible for, which have an effect on our lives as humans, as human beings. So, it is basically nothing but a set of mathematical calculations based on the position of the planets in our birth chart, based of which we can predict our entire life from birth to death. But how how is how is it possible that the planets influence our lives? Okay, let me give you an example. Have you heard of this concept that about the moon? The moon is responsible for the tides in the ocean, the low tide and the high tide. The moon's gravitational pull results in the high and the low tide of the ocean. So it attracts the water of the ocean, which is responsible for it. Similarly, our body is made up of almost 70% water. So all the planets in our solar system, including the sun and the moon, is responsible. Their gravitational pull is responsible for affecting our lives. Hence, their position in our birth chart is important to be studied in astrology. So, in short, using astrology, we can predict our whole life, which makes us believe that it is predestined since everything from birth to death is entirely correct, right? So, we would believe that it is predestined, right? But according to our last video, it is karma which gives us our life events, right? As you sow, so shall you reap. Whatever you've done in the past will be done to you in the future, right? So does karma decide our destiny or do the planets? And where does astrology come into the picture, right? Those are the questions. Astrology is the study of the effect of the planets on us. So it is the study of our nature, our strengths, weaknesses, our virtues, vices, our trigger points, our trigger areas, and all of this. And how is karma created? Good and the bad, or the positive and negative karma is created by us, by our reactions, by our behavior, by our thoughts, words, and deeds. Astrology is just a prediction based of our nature of how we would react to certain situations which come to us, right? It is a prediction. And if you know a person well, if you know the nature of a person well, you would be able to predict how he or she would react, right? Astrology is the same thing. So astrology just predicts how according to the nature of the person, how the person would react to a certain situation. And that is how karma is created, right? We create our own karma, right? The negative and the positive. If we react positively to a certain situation, we create positive karma and vice versa, right? So in that sense, our destiny or our future is predestined, correct? But I believe we can change our destiny. So the question remains how? How can we change our destiny at least to some extent so that we can be happy in our life, right? Okay, let's explore some ways to do that. There are two ways of correcting our karma. First is correcting our negative karma. First is ask for forgiveness. Just generally in our mind, ask for forgiveness of every living being we've hurt intentionally or unintentionally in the past up to this, in all our previous lives up to this point. That works out to clear our negative karma till this moment. That is one way to correct our past negative karma. I've spoken more about this in my previous episode about karma, and I'll put a link to it in the description below if you need to just see the elaborate version of it, the extended version of it. But this is in short, the gist of the episode. And you can skip the previous part and go straight to the part of correcting the karma. You can do that. Timestamps are in the description. Second way to correct karma, to correct bad karma, negative karma. If karma is the sum total of our positive and negative reactions in thought, word, and deed to incoming stimuli, as you would say, or an incoming incident, then don't you think it is a good idea to correct our reactions to negative triggers, as they say? If we react positively to every incoming situation, don't you think our karma, future karma, would be positive? Does that make sense logically? So what we are doing is we have cleared all the past negative karma by apologizing, just generally. And from now on, we try not to create any negative karma in the future. We try, of course, but we cannot do it 100%, but we try. And how we do that? We work on our triggers. We work on the core of any negative trigger. We work on the core of it in our mind and heart, the core of it in our mind and heart. And we correct it there. We correct our weaknesses and our triggers by going to the core of it. And in this way, we heal that part of us, or we correct that part of us which needs to be healed or corrected permanently. So the next time a same or similar trigger comes in our life, we won't be affected by it, at least not to the same extent. And in short, we can just, what we are doing is correcting our reactions to negative stimuli so that what will happen is we won't create any bad karma in the future. Correct? I've spoken more about this in one of my previous episodes about self-image. The topic is different, but but the method of changing self-image is the same as the one to correct bad karma, which is to correct our triggers or weaknesses, improve them, heal them. So you can skip the part of the self-image, the previous part of the video, and just go straight to the correction part. Timestamps are in the description. I'll put a link to the episode in the description below. So these are the two ways in which we can correct our past karma and take care not to create any more negative karma today, so that our future life and lives will be positive and we'll be happy. And that if we correct our karma, past and future and present, then that will transform our life for the better. And we will nullify all of those things in our birth chart also, right? And we'll be happy. To sum up, it is our own karma which decides our destiny, but we can change it with our actions. God gives us free will to do that. I believe it is 50-50. 50% God's will and 50% our own actions and our own karma, which decides or helps shape our destiny. So our karma in all our previous lifetimes up to this point decided how our life would be till now. But our karma today will decide how our future life and lives would look like. So make full use of it and refrain from creating any negative karma from today. If you wish to take my coaching services related to karma, relationships, mindset growth, spiritual, etc., my email ID is in the bio and in the description box. If you resonated with this episode, give it a thumbs up. I would also love to hear your thoughts about it too. And do share the episode with others. You never know who might be positively affected by it. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Till then, be happy and keep smiling.